1953.
Right.
Now, Earl left in 53. 1954 came around. You became, your first head coaching position was St. Raphael Academy. You had sort of an inauspicious debut in 1954, Coach. Why don't you talk briefly about that team? We're going to show a little photo of your team photo at that point in time. Go ahead.
Okay, when you said the very inauspicious beginning, that's being kind. We lost every game.
Winless.
Winless season in my first year, and it wasn't my first year at St. Ray's, but it was my first year as head coach. And as I said, we lost every game, and the one encouraging factor in the whole season was that the kids hung together, and also we were considered a pretty potent offensive team. We scored against just about everybody that we played.
Yeah, but you just couldn't stop anybody? Was that it?
We couldn't stop anybody. The defense was a little tough.
Yeah.
But we had put in a new system based on the split T formation, and we were able to move the ball pretty well.
And so did you feel that it was going to take a while in order for your system to take hold? Were you discouraged with not winning even a single game?
I wasn't discouraged because, as I said, we had a pretty potent offense and were able to move the ball and make the games pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Main factor was the lack of experience in the defensive line.
Yeah. Now, Tom, what were your impressions of Coach Condon? You had Coach Earl Lambert in your sophomore year. Now, Coach Condon comes on, you don't win a game, and now you're wondering, did you have any impressions of Coach Condon back then?
Coach, you got to remember, we played some tough teams. We played LaSalle. We played East Providence. We played a Cranston team, either Cranston East or Cranston West. We win all of those ball games, and you were loyal to us. You weren't discouraged with us. You were proud of your team, and I really think you looked upon us as being champions, and that's why a year later, we presented you with a championship.
Yeah. Now in '54, your junior, were you in Class A?
We were
then?
in Class A then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then the following year is when they, because probably went winless and they did realignment.
They had a realignment, yeah, and I don't know whether it's because we went winless, but we had a realignment, and they Class B, we put back in Class B.
All right, and now let's go into 1955, Coach. After no wins in '54, what were your expectations going into the 1955 season? Probably never in your wildest imagination would you dream up of that you were going to have this type of season.
No, I didn't feel that we'd go undefeated, but I knew we were going to have a good ball club. And I knew we would be better defensively because of the year's experience. Recall that all of these young men were sophomores or juniors in that first year. And now they've had that full year under their belt. And defense is one of the hardest things, I think, to coach, and one of the hardest things for ball players to grasp.
Now Coach, we've got your 1955 team up there. Why don't you talk about some of the go over and point out some of the guys. How about your starting backfield? Coughlin.
My starting backfield, I had moved Tommy from halfback. He was a halfback the previous year because I lost the fullback. The only man on the team the previous year that we lost was the fullback. And I moved Tommy to fullback primarily because in the split T offense you had to have a good blocking fullback, and Tommy was a...
Now Coughlin was number 31.
He was number 31.
Where's Jackie Jordan?
Jackie Jordan is number 14, I believe.
Third row.
Number.
Yeah.
Triple threat back. Even in those days, the split T and the T formations, you never thought of triple threats. But Jackie was a runner, terrific runner, a passer because he was the quarterback, and he was also the punter.
Now, how about your record-breaking halfback in Jimmy Sullivan? What
Jimmy
number
Sullivan was out all the previous year with a bad leg, a bad knee, I should say, and never thought he'd ever come back and be able to play football again, but he did come back with a real bang. And
where is he in this one, Coach?
He is number 44 in the front row.
Okay, second in, yeah.
Right next to the man with the ball, or the fellow with the ball, which was our captain, Donald Payton.
All right, and how about Olobri and Schoenfeld? There were two All-State guys. What numbers are they?
Schoenfeld, number 73, was an All-State tackle, and he later went on to play at Northwestern University.
Yeah.
And next to him is Doug O'Brien, who...
number 86?
Number 86, who was my other tackle, and he went on to play at Tennessee. And Then there was Charlie Lowbury, 78, a great end, and he played at Brown University. And next to him was Charlie King. I think he went to URI, and he only came out in his junior year, and his senior year he was a great end and a defensive end too.
Yeah, and who's that handsome guy next to 42?
42.
Third row. That's you, Coach, isn't it?
Oh, that's me. I was looking for 42.
and on the other side, next to 75, holding Kim, and right where it is your other assistant coach.
That's my assistant coach, my only assistant coach, and a great coach too, and a great fella, Vin McChrystal.
Vin McChrystal, sure. All right, we can take off the photo here. Now, Tom, the Saints started the 1955 season with a 40-0 shutout over Mount St. Charles, setting a school record of 372 yards gained. Now tell our Good Sports audience about the goal line play that Coach Condon had set up for that game.
Coach, I don't know if you want to reveal this play. I really don't. You know, for years and years and years, Coca-Cola has preserved their formula for Coke. No one knows it. You want me to tell about this little play that you put in, goal line?
Refresh my memory, Tom.
Okay, well, so many times, you know, teams are down on the 1-foot line and 3 cracks at the goal line, and they can't score. So the coach put this play in where Jackie was going to take the handoff from the center, give a little fake, then go over to Donnie Pateman, the guard, and put his foot on Donnie's pads and leap over Donnie into the end zone. But Jackie did something he wasn't supposed to do. He went down Donnie's back. Donnie had a few creep marks, and of course he had a few choice words too. And I can rest assure you we never tried that play again. Do you remember it, Coach?
Yes, I do.
Now, why did you call that one, Coach?
Primarily because Donnie was a real tough little guard, and he always wanted to score.
Yeah.
That was his main ambition. We weren't able to get him the ball to score, so we thought we'd make him instrumental in obtaining a score for us with that.
Now, Bob, the
jump on the back play.
Sure, Bud Wilkinson, the fabled college football coach from the University of Oklahoma, had a serious impact upon your coaching style and the way you treated your players. Why don't you give us a little insight into that?
Yeah, I was very impressed with him. I went to a clinic one time out in Philadelphia where he spoke on the split tee, which was relatively new in those days. I'm going back to very early 50s, 1950, 51. And I not only was impressed with him and his philosophy with regards to the development of the split tee formation, but also I was very impressed with him as a man, a real classy gentleman. And so I kind of wanted to emulate him and his coaching style, and that's why I was very happy to be able to install the split tee with some variations.
Yeah. Now, was that revolutionary in Rhode Island at that point in time?
I believe we were the only high school team at the time to employ the split tee.
Yeah. And it basically took almost 2 years in order for your players, your backfield, to really catch on to that in order to really kick it into full gear?
Yeah, and the reason I think for that was that I had the boys on that team were all very, very bright boys. I think something like 15 of the youngsters on that team were honor roll students.
Really?
Of one kind or another, including my friend here on the side of her. They were all real good students, and they absorbed. They were able to accomplish all of the intricacies of the split tee with the various splits depending upon the defenses that were thrown at us. You took different splits, the guards, the ends, and the tackles.
Sure.
You didn't split for blocking angles, but you split in order to develop the holes that would promote the plays.
Yeah. Now, Tom and Coach, you can jump in. You know, you had a potent offense, 323 points. I mean, that's tremendous in 9 games. But in order for your offense to be effective, you had to have a good offensive line. Why don't you start with center Ray Bosher and then sort of work your way out with the guards, tackles, and ends? Talk a little bit about Ray. And Coach, you can just add on to those things too. Good. Why don't you start, Tom?
Well, there was Ray Bosher, the center, and then there were guards. There were Donnie Payton and Diamond. and the tackles were Red O'Brien and Ronnie Schoenfeld.
Yeah.
And they would open up a hole that then you could put a Mack truck through. They were not only big, they were fast.
We had another good little guard, Bobby Cassavan,
Yeah.
in that line too. But as Tommy said, they were all good blocking, had good blocking techniques, and they got off the mark very, very quickly.
Yeah, but Coach, I mean, think of yourself in practice. You were afraid to get in there and show Guy how to block, and he did.
Oh, is that right?
Get in there and show the lineman what he wanted, and oh yeah.
Now you've got a story about Ponarelli early in the year before, Coach, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was running a play in practice, and of course, when they when they tackled me, they used to leap on one after the other to give me a little punishment.
Is that right?
Yeah, and the first man to hit me was Ponarelli, who was a big, rugged fullback and linebacker on defense in those days. And after they all piled on me one time, he got up and he whispered in my ear, Ponarelli, he said, Coach, I saved you that time. He said, I was on top of you, but I was on my knees and hands to keep the weight off you, you know.
Yeah, now, you also had a water boy on the team,
Yeah.
who would go on to legendary coaching status with his alma mater, St. Raphael Academy.
Yeah, he was my equipment manager and water boy. His brother was the tackle that we mentioned previously on the team, Doug O'Brien. And Dennis never missed a game, never missed a practice, was always there. And he was just an exceptional kid, and I was not surprised in the least when he later became the outstanding coach that he was.
Yeah, at St. Raphael's during the 1980s and early 1990s.
Another innovator, too.
Very much so, and died before his time, really.
Yeah.
Also, you had one of your players, Digger Diamond, right? Now, where did that nickname come from?
His father was an undertaker, and he's an undertaker to this day in North Attleboro, I believe.
And that was an affectionate term?
Yeah, the kids all called him Digger, and he took it good-naturedly.
Yeah. Now, Alobri was probably one of your bigger guys at 6'3", Coach.
Yeah.
Now, was
he
he
also
a
played
double...
basketball for me because he was the biggest, about 6'4", I guess.
Yeah. Now, was he a
those
double
days.
threat, a good block, but at the same time, would he be
great
someone
pass
you'd be looking for to as a pass receiver?
Yeah, great pass receiver, too, yeah. Good all-around defense and offense, but an exceptional pass receiver.
Yeah. Now, did Coach ever do any trick plays, Tom, with Statue of Liberty or halfback options or the rest, or was it pretty much give it to have Coughlin go over and block and give it to Jordan and Sullivan?
Well, the coach was very creative, and he would always try some plays. I can't think of any in particular. I think we had the old Statue of Liberty a couple of times, and if he put a play in and we didn't run it right, as was said earlier, he would run the play. And we would ask the coach, can we tackle you? And he said, if you can get me, you can tackle me. And we did. We had a little mercy on him, but...
we did have some very successful plays. One I can think of with Tommy, we had a very tough game with a state championship team from Connecticut, Stonington.
Right.
And we played them in that year that they won the state championship in Connecticut, and we beat that team, and primarily because of a play that Tommy ran. We used to have a counter play when Tommy was the fullback, where the quarterback would step to fake the drive up off the guard, and then reverse spin and hand it to the fullback, who would counter and go up the middle. And we weren't having too much success with anything in that game, and things were getting very tight. And we came up with the idea of putting Tommy out on a short flanker and running the counter play, so that the quarterback, Jordan, would go down the line, fake the handoff to Sullivan straight up, and then hand off to Tommy coming back off his tail, and then over the zero hole, which was the counter hole that we used to run him on. Yeah. And it was that play primarily that helped us beat this Stonington team.
Now, were you surprised that Coach was calling your number more often than not in that game, Tom?
It was Jackie, the quarterback. Well, they had, Stonington was big. And they had Jackie and Jimmy, where they couldn't run on the outside. They just couldn't. So
You're more than happy to get the ball
I was very
that
happy
game?
that the coach gave me the chance to run a few plays up
We
the
never
middle.
ever ran it in practice or anything else, and I was surprised how well it went with him
Yeah.
at the short flanker position.
Yeah, good point. Now, your first 5 games, you outscored the opponent 174 to nothing. Just absolutely demolished the first 5 teams. Your first real test of that 1955 season was when you were playing West Warwick. They had a 54 win streak going into that game, playing St. Raphael's. Coach, talk about that
Great
game.
team.
Yeah.
They played a couple of bowl games in Florida in the previous 2 years. They were that good a team. And of course, they were coached by one of the great high school coaches of all time, at least as far as Rhode Island was concerned. Outstanding coach, Monk Maznicki. Monk was also a great ball player at Boston College. I think he made All-American at Boston College, and he later played for the Chicago Bears. So he was a great coach with a great background, and it was really exciting that we were able to beat them. We beat them that year, I think, with good defense, but primarily through the running of Sullivan with a new play that we put in just for that game, which was what we called a flip reverse play, where everything started to the right, and Sullivan would take a jab step up like he was going into the 5-hole, and then reverse and cut back, and Jordan would throw him a short pitch. And the center, we had the center pull on that play and drive out the end, and Sullivan broke that for, I guess 3 times during that ball game to set up the 3 scores.
Yeah, had a big game there. You win 25 to nothing, Tom. So that's 6-0. Again, now you're up to almost 200, over 200 points. Again, 6 games, 6 shutouts. So we're talking about the great offense, but also what a great defense. Talk a little bit about the defensive aspect of it, Tom.
I think, Bill, there was a couple of writers who wrote up our games, and one of the writers called our defense Condon's frontiersmen.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Why is that?
Because they were rough and they were tough. They were stingy. They didn't want to give up any points.
Uh-huh.
Then about a week later, I think it might have probably been the Stonington game, another writer called them McChrystal's Ferocious 7. And we know what a ferocious animal is, and that's what our defense was. They were out there growling and going at the offensive quarterback and halfbacks before they could get started. So we had a great defense.
Yeah,
They were quick.
Now, you had earlier in the season, you had a gentleman from Holy Cross come down and sort of give you a couple of instructions on how to tackle. Talk a little bit about that, Tom.
Not only how to tackle, but how to carry the ball. And a tackle, but you threw your head at the ball to try to knock it out of the guy's hands. You didn't tackle with your hands. And what was the other one?
He was an
Conroy?
old friend of mine.
Was he?
I knew since I was very, very young, with boys in school. He played at St. Raphael too, and later was a quarterback at Holy Cross. In those days, they played the single wing, and the quarterback was like a blocker.
So he came down as a special favor to your coach?
Yeah, he'd come out, and he'd hang around, he'd come after work and so forth, and or maybe even during work, and he'd give me a little hand with the team, take a few of the boys over to the side, show them the stance and how to get off quickly and into their man, and it paid off, I think. And,
He also showed us, Coach, how to carry the ball. You didn't carry the ball like a loaf of bread.
Yeah. And how would you? We got a ball here, Tom. There you go.
Like you tuck that ball in right under there, and no way could that ball be knocked on out. You're not strong enough.
what else to do? They come and they hold up. If they didn't
And it
hold
paid
it
off,
right, then
too.
you'd knock it right out of their arm.
Is that right?
Fumble that much.
I mean,
Yeah.
so did the offense, did your defense go over and bring off a lot of fumbles because of the way they were tackling and going after the ball that way, Coach?
We did something differently, I think, in high school ball at that time, and we did. They used to have the player go for the midsection.
Yep, belt buckle.
That was when the belt buckle.
Yep.
Yeah, aim for the belt buckle because you couldn't fake with your belt. But that year we had our players hit up a little higher, try to aim the head for the ball, the arm where the ball was.
Yeah.
And that resulted, I think, in a lot of fumbles.
A lot of success.
I think I picked that up from Frank Leahy.
Is that right? Notre Dame, legendary Notre Dame
Yeah, at another
coach.
clinic. Yeah. Somebody asked him why Notre Dame made their opponents fumble so much, and that was the reason he gave. Yeah.
Now, you talked a little bit about Stonington, Connecticut. You traveled down to Stonington, Connecticut, and they were the first team. You came away with a win 14-6, but it was the first time someone had scored upon you. Now, the next game, you go over, Tom and Coach, you go over and play De La Salle. Now, you're up 38 to nothing in that game. What happened next?
Well, I didn't have much of a JV team. They were all sophomores, and we only had, I'd say on the whole team, maybe 24 kids, 25 kids that suited up. So that the second team was really a green team. And we put them in to play, and De La Salle marched right down the field. They were a big team, De La Salle, and well coached. And they moved down and scored one touchdown, and the kids wanted to all go back in. No, we're still ahead 35-7 or whatever it was. They hold us, they kick off to us and hold us. We end up punting and move the ball right back down the field again, and now it's 35-14. And so we get the ball again, and we end up having to punt again. And they move the ball right down the field and scored again. Now it's 35-21. I said, hey, let's get the first team back in there. And so they kick off to us. We get the first team in. We move it out to about the 20-yard line, I think. And first play from scrimmage, Jackie Jordan runs the option play, cuts inside the end, fakes the pitch, and goes all the way 80 yards. Score. Now it's 40-something to 21. And my good friend across the field, the Lord rest his soul, was Duke Abruzzi, great coach and a great back in his own right at URI in his heyday. But he got a towel and he started waving it.
Is that right?
He'd had enough.
Call off the dogs, huh? Call off the big boys.
But I'd already called them off, and they just were no match for his first team. You know? So that's how they ended up scoring 21 points. But they didn't score again.
Now Tom, your last game, so now you're 8-0. First time someone scores on you in Rhode Island was a De La Salle game. Now, you beat Tolman 21-0 to complete your perfect season before one of the largest crowds in years at McCoy Stadium. Talk about that football game, Tom.
But you got to remember that we're young at that time. We're 16, we're 17 years of age. And there's 2 to 3, over Thanksgiving Day, there's 6,000, 7,000 people in the stands. And they're cheering, go, where, and they're spelling out Saints, and we want a touchdown over. Believe me, it does something to you when you're on the field. It really does. And I don't know if the coach knew it or not, but Donnie Payton used to come back in the huddle with his little fist and say, come on, let's go, let's get him. And that was Donnie. You remember that coach?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got his nose broken in that.
And it really did. It did something to charge you up on the field. And Jackie would come back in the huddle and call a play and say, you hear them saying, go, we want a touchdown? Let's give him a touchdown, you know?
Is that right?
It was great. It really
and knowing
was.
that this would be your last game in high school also, right, to complete a perfect season. It must have been special.
But, you know, Tolman had some good players.
In all fairness, that was a real good ball game. We were only winning 7-0, I think, for almost 3 quarters. Gig Paraso was a great coach.
Yeah, now that was my next question, Coach. You moved right into it very well, thank you. That was teacher-pupil. I mean, here you are, 4 years later, now Gig goes over, moves over to Tolman, and is going to go over and really set his legend at Tolman from 1955 on, or 54 on. The first year he beats you, now as teacher versus pupil. What was that interplay like before the game and during the game and after the game between you and Gig?
We always got along famously. As a matter of fact, right after the game, Gig said to me, see, I told you should have taken that job 3 years ago when I left. You know? But he was a wonderful, wonderful guy, and I learned an awful lot of football from him. He and I used to have a lot of fun, and the competition between us was even if we played cards during the school lunch period or something like that. It was dog eat dog. And we used to play a game of what we called punts before practice, before the kids got down on the field. He'd kick it to me, and I'd catch the ball, and I'd kick it back to him, and whoever got the best kicks moved the ball until he could kick it over the goal line.
Oh,
then you won.
Interesting.
That's what we called punts.
Yeah.
That was a game Gig and I made up between us. And one time, neither one of us was going too far with this, and so I kicked to Gig, and he caught the ball. And then all of a sudden, he started stepping off yardage. 1, 2, 3, 15 yards. Then he kicked the ball over my head and won the game. I said, hey, Gig, what are you doing? You know, you're supposed to kick the ball where you caught it. He said, no, he says, you took too many steps the last time you putted, so I gave you a 15-yard penalty.
Coach, and by the time we've got less than a minute left, Tom, what was your most memorable moment of that perfect 9-0 1955 football season with St. Mayfield?
It was, Bill, two things: winning the Class B championship and defeating Tolman on Thanksgiving Day. Tolman, because my father taught at Tolman.
Oh.
And we lost that junior year, and he took it from being a teacher at Tolman. You know, they gave him the business, the students.
Yeah.
At least he could go into the senior year. Not saying it, but at least know they'd be proud that Saints, when he also started teaching at St. Ray's and coaching at St. Ray's back in the 1930s.
And Coach, real quickly, the moment you will always remember?
The moment that I always remember were the kids coming back to me after that game and lifting me up and starting to march me around the field and that type of thing. I couldn't get down. But they were all such a grand bunch of boys that I was really thrilled with that.
Well, terrific. Coach and Tom, it just flew by as we thought it would be. Thanks for sharing your memories about 1955 St. Mayfield's Class B football championship team.
Thank you. It was very nice being here, and thank you for having me.
Great to have you guys.
Thanks for having us.
And I'm Bill Mulholland for Good Sports Memories. Have a good night, and thanks for being here. Worked out real well.